That's your quarterbacks. Next up, we're going to talk stacking your running backs with a solid defense. Last week was a lot more interesting than I expected around.
I missed some people last week.
Oh, my God.
Back. I missed that running back. I was in the Eckler. The Chargers had a good bounce back game. It was all Herbert. Eckler, he only had like 79 total yards. He didn't get to 100. And, just sometimes, games script out and, But I kind of like that, which we're not on that offense, but that Herbert was just able to bounce back. Have a couple of bad games, and that don't define you like Sam Darnold. Like, you get into this spiral, and it just goes like, no, you go out here and you light up somebody for 300 yards. That's how you bounce out of a...
Yeah, no, you're right. And I was on, like I said, I mentioned it at the beginning. I was on Chubb. We was on Chubb last week. We talked about him a lot. It's always a reason to play Chubb in Cleveland. I was concerned because they were playing the Bengals, and the Bengals defense is a top 10 DVOA defense. And they forgot to play football.
But, the Browns, which, I can always go through those offensive lines. They just got one of the best offensive lines in football. They have one of the best offensive and defensive lines.
They really do. They got both sides. They got the two key things if you want to win a Super Bowl, which is why people have them heading to the Super Bowl. And it makes sense. As much as we want to argue, their quarterback's Baker Mayfield, they're really not that good. No.
You can ugly it up through the playoffs.
Exactly. If you muddy the waters and you come out on top, that's all that matters. No one cares how you win those games. If you get in a
playoff game with Buffalo and they go out here and play and score 6 points like they did last week, and I'm willing to bet that Cleveland's defensive line is better than the
way
Jags.
Better. I mean, as much as I like Josh Allen, not that Josh Allen, but the other Josh Allen with Jacksonville, I like Myles Garrett 10 times more right now, and that's just because Josh Allen is still young.
So anything can happen on these teams with good. When you win in the trenches.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So you need somebody to protect your quarterback, and you need somebody to go get their quarterback. If you've got both of those in play, that's what makes you dominant. That's what makes the Rams so scary. That's what makes the Browns so scary. Jacksonville defense is getting their Dallas's defense. That's what makes them so scary this year. Tennessee's defense, the Cardinals' defense.
So
that's your terrifying thing about a defense. If they can go get somebody else's quarterback, you've got something. So running back wise,
let's start there with the. So as we talk about running back and defense, that we usually start high. Let's start at this value at running back. Let's talk about Dearness Johnson. And the Browns defense at 4.7.
Johnson is cheap. He is the play.
And so
I'm gonna put it like this. Everybody's going to play him this week.
Yeah.
I looked at the optimizer. We're at 46% of my 150 rosters has the Ernest Johnson.
It's just but it's when you get plays like that, it's just a free square.
Yeah, it's free.
And you just put it on the board, and you can build anything else around it. So you get different in other places that you think that you don't have the same lineup. But I think, and I don't even hate the Browns defense against New England. I don't hate the New England defense, even though they're priced up against. Because I keep attacking Baker the wrong weeks. Like, I kind of like the Bengals to go against him because he keeps with this bum shoulder.
Yeah,
he had no OBJ, but they just couldn't stop the run.
But the thing that we forgot is that Baker plays a lot better when OBJ's not there. OBJ's not there. Same thing with Dak when Dez was gone. It's not that the team is better without him. It's just that the quarterback's focus is everybody and not trying to get to that one guy. And at the same time, and this is kind of a thing that I think we're overlooking. I'm not going to go too much of a tangent on the way Cleveland did things with OBJ, but Cleveland's offense is more of a timed offense. So there's going to be a lot of moments OBJ is going to be open, but he's not part of the timing sequence of progression. And then that's the case. You can't do anything about that. And a lot of teams play that way.
Yeah, so I think we're looking at both defenses and running back situations in this game because they both like to run the ball.
Yes.
They both like to control the clock.
Yes.
And play like efficient offense because Mac Jones, he isn't terrible. He'll go 20 for 28. But it's not like 300-something yards, but it's a slow game. So we look at both of these defenses so we like Dearness Johnson at 4.7, so we'll explain why. Hunt is not going to be back.
Nope. And
Nick Chubb is probably out with COVID, and so was Felton.
Yes.
So right now, going into that game, unless whoever we waiting to see who they pull off the practice squad, but Dearness Johnson is literally the only healthy running back that they had on the roster coming out of the past week when they got ruled out. And so when you look on the other side with New England, same thing because Damian Harris, whom I've liked a few weeks now, he's on the concussion protocol. Ramon J. Stevens is he's in there as well with a concussion. So that leaves us Brandon Bolden at 4.4, who's been involved. He's been around. Like, we've seen him play.
He's been there for like 40 years, though.
Well, so when we think about Belichick, those are the guys that he likes.
Oh, yeah, he loves those guys. Like him, Rex Burkhead, guys like that. Yes.
Exactly. And, and I wonder if he's safer than J.J. Taylor at 4K.
If you play a Patriot.
if you choose to play this, if you choose to attack this value, because it's a lot to choose from. So we'll keep going up from the low. So we got the New England and Cleveland situation. You know, I keep wanting to kind of click on A.J. Dillon at 4.9 because they just keep giving the ball. Like, they did not use Aaron Jones in the game last week in Green Bay. Like,
they have. He's a lot of A.J. Dillon. He's at 4.8 this week, so he's a little bit cheaper.
I played Aaron Jones thinking that they would just maybe keep using him as a receiver and just be dunking the ball off to him.
No.
Just didn't happen. We keep moving up. We talked the Boston Scott Jordan Howard situation, both at 4.9 in Philly. But
they don't know what they want.
Game. I think they know what they want. I just think that they decided to split it all up. They kind of like they running this running game like Baltimore, like it's the quarterback and it's these running backs.
It's by committee.
They
running back
it's
by
like
committee.
they running a college wishbone. They just running the ball.
Yes, flex bone, wishbone is basically what they're running.
But Jordan Howard had 17 carries. He paced them out. 17 carries, 70 yards and a touchdown last week.
Yeah, I'd probably play Jordan Howard because he's cheap.
He's cheap.
He's 4.9.
And it's like, and I think that I lose interest because of the Dearness Johnson situation at 4.7.
Now, another cheap one to play that I would consider is Mark Ingram, the second, against that Tennessee defense.
Ooh, you know what? Okay.
Because Alvin Kamara's probably not going to play.
I hadn't even got there because I hadn't thought about if Kamara don't
He's
play.
4.5.
Yes.
He gave us 11 points last week against Atlanta. 9 carries, 43 yards. He caught 5 catches. So he's going to get you some. He'll get you double-digit numbers for cheap. So he's a good filler if you really need a filler based upon having a high roster with like your wide receivers and
stuff. I have an affinity to back up Saints running backs. You know, you remember who wins you money.
Yes.
And there was a week that Kamara midweek got ruled out, and it was the same situation, but it was Latavius Murray. And of all teams, they were playing at the Bears, my team.
The Bears.
But I knew we were a little vulnerable against the run, and it was just like they're going to give him the ball. Like, he's the only running back.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's kind of the same situation. Like, if Kamara, I don't mind that. If Kamara don't play, I think we can throw Mark Ingram into this. 5 catches last week, 5 for 5 on targets, 9 carries, 11 fantasy points.
Yeah, he's somebody to run with.
Okay.
Go ahead and write off Chuba.
And I think like I have a gap from that 4.9, and I don't even like. I go all the way up to 6.1 at 4.9. I'm don't really liking this matchup against Washington. I kind of like the passing game here. Washington is somewhat decent against the run.
Don't sleep on Michael Carter again.
Yeah,
he's someone to consider. I don't like him a lot.
I never feel comfortable playing the Jets, even though, and I don't have him on my list, which we're not on receivers like Jamison Crowder, for instance. Like, I just never want to do it.
No, it makes sense, and you're not wrong for it. But he's someone to consider between him, Devin Singletary.
I actually think I think Buffalo has a good defense. Like, I wouldn't play like they're good players that I don't play against Buffalo.
Right? No, you're right. But the difference I see here is it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
So there's something always about a divisional game. It's probably going to be a lot of running. It's going to be a tighter game.
And I actually think the Jets want to win games. Like, you may not think so, but I think that they're wanting to win.
Well, they're bad enough that they know that no matter how hard they try, they're going to lose. So it looks better for them to at least make an attempt.
With them riding Mike White, that shows that they're going to ride the hot hand.
Yeah.
They look like they want to develop Elijah Moore. So I don't, I can get behind that. Connor at 6'3", Chase Edmonds probably won't play.
Yeah.
Carolina's got a good defense, but opportunity.
Yeah, we'll see who they play at quarterback. That's going to be the determining factor of how Carolina plays. If they play Cam and Cam has an idea of how his offense runs, the problem with playing Cam this week after signing him literally today, which we're recording on Thursday, literally today, is that it's either going to be awesome or awful.
Right.
There is no in between.
So some people actually, which I didn't put them on my list, but you have experts out here looking at this Arizona defense, especially against this PJ Walker situation, which we're not on defense yet. But
we'll get to that point.
We'll get to that point. So it's like, okay,
as far as a stat goes, you could play James Conner with the Arizona defense
because if they turn the ball over in the red zone, that they giving the ball to the Conner.
Because Arizona defense is third in price this week at 3.7, so there's something to consider. Yeah, there's something to consider.
But if they get a turnover inside the red zone, that they giving it to Conner.
Hell yeah.
So keep going up. 6'6", Cordell Patterson. I think we talked about how that flows. Like, I probably won't just play Patterson randomly. It's almost like it's in a stack. I mean, you can though.
I do.
Yeah.
Just because it's just out of nowhere. The dude just has weeks. I mean, he's been so consistent.
They run when you watch these games. I mean, he's catching the ball on the sideline, like they're running pass routes to him. They're designing packages in the red zone for him that is, to give him the ball. And like he had 9 carries for 10 yards, but with his 6 catches, 120 yards, he didn't even get in the end zone. Still had 22 fantasy points last week.
22, exactly. And that's the thing about it is that he's probably not going to score, but he's going to rack up that PPR, and that's something that's more valuable.
And that's so we're heavy on DraftKings. So yeah, I like that. Which we talk about PPRs. We keep moving up this list. I don't want to play DeAndre Swift because I just don't want to touch Detroit's offense. No. We talked about my problems with Eric Jones at 6'9". Him and A.J. Dillon are killing each other. Yeah. Zeke was a little hobbled in that last game against Denver. He came back in.
So it's between him and Tony Pollard.
If he play more Pollard. It's if he doesn't, he's another one. If he don't play, you got to play. You got to look at Pollard. If Zeke ever misses a game, Eckler at 7'6". Their offense is because they ended up throwing out like 3 tight ends in this last game.
Yeah, he's been coming in with a injury designation the last couple of weeks. Zeke has, and so because of that, at 7,000, he's not worth the value. He's not worth that number. No, he's not going to produce anything at that number. He keeps popping
in optimals,
right?
Builders.
He's popping up in builders because he's Zeke. It's not somebody you can ever say you can't go with. Okay, so from there, Zeke does keep popping up in your optimizers. They like him just because he's Zeke Elliott.
Right.
Makes sense.
Right.
But if he's going in with injury designations, because they got him on a count. They got him on a snap count anyway. Since they got him on a snap count, you don't want him to play if you got him out there on a play count or whatnot. His reps are capped.
So the big
every
guns.
week.
So let's talk about the big guns.
Big guns. I got 3 plays that I think are worth playing at the big gun play. It's Najee Harris. I love him every week. I love him every week.
Now you get Detroit.
It's Najee Harris. He catches passes and he runs the ball like crazy.
And if you need even more reason to play Najee Harris against Detroit, like Philly's got me wanting to play Boston Scott and Jordan Howard after watching them against Detroit. Yes,
it tells you something.
Dalvin Cook, and then we talk about the Chargers, them and this running defense for the Chargers, like Dalvin Cook, like.
My plus 7,000 guys, I've only got 3 guys I would recommend to play. Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, and Jonathan Taylor. I wouldn't touch anybody else up there. I have Austin Eckler on my season long. I like Eckler typically. Eckler's going up against this Minnesota defense, which is not bad.
No, I will probably play some Eckler in like game stacks. So we've kind of, we went to the position by position and then talk about games. I really like the Minnesota Chargers game. So I think that all the pieces as we go through these positions, because you're going to hear me talk about Tyler Conklin and all the Chargers tight ends, I kind of, Eckler in game stacks. I probably won't be attacking him in individual lineups.
Yep.
But any game, he could go for multiple touchdowns in multiple ways and 150 yards total. So But I really like Dalvin Cook this week. Like I feel like Dalvin Cook's probably your best play, even with all the stuff circling around him right now. Yeah, it's like I play bum running backs.
The Chargers are a bad rush defense,
and I play worse running backs against them.
Yes,
but his usage, he's 17 keys.
They use him a lot, and your boy, even as good as Madison is, they don't use him ever when Cook is healthy.
No, they do not. They don't
Cook
take
is
Cook
healthy.
out.
He ain't playing.
No.
He ain't touching Nathan.
No.
He loses it. So the question is at 8,000, is he worth the price for only getting at 25 points at most?
I think that they'll. Because Zimmer doesn't mind running the ball, I think that they'll cater a game plan to attack that. I think,
especially the Chargers defense.
I think that we'll see 25 to 28 touches from Dalvin Cook this week.
This is the one week which is a rarity for me, that I feel like a player of Dalvin Cook's price is still worth it, even though he may not get you a lot.
Yes.
Same
because Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's going to get you numbers. So. Yeah. That's the thing about it. Jonathan Taylor's getting us 30s. He's had a couple like 3. He's had 3 30-point weeks in the last 5, and he's had at least 20 in the other 2. Where Dalvin Cook's been worse. True. Jonathan Taylor at $100 more. If you got that extra money, spend up, get Jonathan Taylor, forget Dalvin Cook. But Najee Harris to me is probably my favorite again this week, because I can see them doing a whole bunch of dump offs. He gets a lot of targets. Like Big Ben likes throwing it to him. I mean, he had that game against Cincinnati.
We talked about Patterson being a receiver type.
Najee does everything.
He does.
And that's what helps him a lot.
He had 3 targets the last 2 weeks. I wonder what's up with that.
They had no reason to really throw him the ball. He was running the ball beautifully himself.
Cleveland, we talked about the defense in Cleveland.
Yeah, he was running the ball. He's running the ball well. Let me look at the attempts compared to the targets. He had 24, 26, and 22.
Yeah, we're talking about a player who's going to touch the ball 25, almost 30 times, some way or another.
Regardless, they're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. So that's your stacks there for running backs and defense.